Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl KK, and I'm back with another tutorial. And in today's video, I'm gonna just show you the techniques that I use to create my 13x4 frontal wigs. So, starting out, what I'm gonna do is etch out where I want my 13x4 to lay, and then I'm going to cut out or etch out where I want to cut at, because before laying this on here, I measured my forehead, my hairline, which was 12 inches, and a 13x4 of course comes 13 inches across. So I just took a half an inch off on each side, and I'm gonna cut that off. So therefore, I could cut it before I put the frontal on my head. And when I put the frontal on my head, it should lay flat, and I shouldn't have to cut any more of those ear tabs off because it's just already there. So yeah, and then I can bring more tracks coming up closer to where I cut that off at, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna just lay this part flat just so I get a better idea of how it's gonna lay when it's on my forehead. Because of course I'm gonna stretch it and pull it flat. Now taking it to the back, I'm just gonna show you how I etch out my lines, because I have already cut the side tabs off, I think. But I was having every difficulty in the world making this wig, I promise you. Like, I'm gonna make a whole nother video of like behind the scenes what goes on, because I was struggling. But anyways, I'm gonna just take my chalk and I'm gonna just etch out every inch higher. So every inch mark, I'm gonna make a mark right there. Every inch mark. And then as I get higher up, closer to the top, I started doing half an inch marks. But eventually when I started making the wig, I just kept with the same half inch partings because it wasn't really enough space. I was gonna single them, and I was like, no, I'll just continue to double them. And right here on the sides, I'm gonna just bring it right along. Continue those lines, continue those lines. Straight, 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 straight. And these are gonna go across to cover the tracks falling backwards. I know it looks like you really can't see the chalk all the way in some areas, but that's just how the lighting hits it, because I can see clearly when I'm on my sewing machine. It looks like I'm not marking anything, but I am. And when I was even making this, I saw the lines, but looking here, it's like I can't see it. So it's just the lighting. But this chalk works really good. I got it at Walmart, for any of you interested. Yeah, so those are just my guidelines. I don't like to put too many tracks. I kind of have like a medium of like 10 to 15, 10 to 13. If I'm gonna double my tracks, I really only want like 10 to 13 tracks on my wig, because I double them. But if I single them, then I go a lot more. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day, what the client wants. Yeah, and so that's it. See how that line is gonna come right underneath where my ear tab will stop. So I have a track right there by my ear tab, instead of having no tracks by my ear tab and I just have full lace. I hope you guys get it. But okay, anyway, so I did not take my closure in before I started making my markings, because I slipped up and just put my closure on there. And I was like, well, since we're already here, let me just make my line. So I'm going back in to take in that cap, because it is too big. It's a dome cap. And I preferably don't like dome caps, but that's all I had on hand. And I was like really trying to get this video out for y'all. So yeah. And it came out great too. It fits perfectly. So I really have no complaints. Sorry if y'all hear these kids in the background. They upstairs and they still loud. So yeah. And then I'm going to proceed to bleaching my knots. Now, when I bleach my knots, I like my bleach really thick and my layer really thin, because I like to like press it in there. Like press, 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 press. I don't want it to be too watery, because then it's just going to seep through. I don't like it to be pancake mix. I don't like it like that. I don't like to have a whole lot of thick bleach on my lace. Like I really, it bothers me. Like it's just not what I like to do. I just like a thin ass layer of some thick bleach that I can press in there so it can bleach them knots. And it goes by quicker like that. I want it to dry quicker so it doesn't run the risk of bleeding even more because now it's dry. But I use a 30 volume developer with BW2 bleach powder. And bleach goes a long way, so like you can really stretch this. It ain't no need for a whole lot. I think I probably only use like a scoop and a half, and less than that in a developer. But if y'all want a detailed tutorial on how I bleach my knots, then I'll let y'all. I'll make a video for that. You guys just gotta let me know in the comments below. Because I'm gonna be coming out with the hits, dropping bangers back to back. All 2021. And see, I'm gonna just hit that corner now. Like it really don't take a whole lot of bleach to do this. Like you ain't really gotta waste bleach. Even one of them little packets that you buy, you could probably use that 2 or 3 times if you do it the right way. Depends on what you're bleaching. But it's still hella bleach in this bowl too. Like literally a little go a long way. Scrubbing it with my finger. This ain't nothing to play with. And while that was processing, I went ahead and doubled both my wefts, and I'm just showing you how easy it is. I don't use an open pressure footer because I cannot seem to find one, and I'm too cheap to buy one off Amazon and pay for shipping and stuff. So yeah, so what I do is I just clench my fingers really, really close together, and I feed it through, and I go pretty quick with this so that it doesn't separate. And I just feed it through. And most times I really don't have a problem. Unless I'm sewing through something that's really, really thick. Or see right here, I missed the switch, so I'm going to just go back and re-sew that. It's really, really simple. And I never start at the front, so I always go back and do the top again. And here is where I broke a needle. Like I said, I'm gonna make a whole bloopers video for y'all because I had so many struggles in this tutorial. And now I'm gonna just sew on my my bundle tag. And I'm not a pro at this, so yeah. And I like to use a straight stitch because it's easier for me and it looks more neat. Sometimes I use a white thread so it can look real fancy and smooth and elegant. But black is cute to me too. And I just do one stitch all the way across, and I do one side at a time because I don't like to turn and bend corners, I like to just go across, lift it, cut it, and then go across another side. Here I'm showing you that I did over bleach my knots, but I'm going to show you a real quick hack to conceal that. So basically what I do is get mascara, and baby, I just brush that on there with light wispy sweeps. Really, really light. And I use a really, really cheap mascara because the cheaper the mascara, the thicker it is. Which is odd. But you see how I just brush that on there? And I really never touch the roots. I never touch the lace. I never get real close to the roots because I do like my roots to look still a little blonde like that. It gives it a more scalp look to me. And that way when I put concealer, I can paint them the color I want them to be. So I like my roots light. But with the mascara, I just touch the end of it. And the mascara is so thick that it's going to go over on both sides. And you just do light wispy sweeps of it. And you comb it through and it looks like it was never there. Like, because players mess up. So, I mean, you gon' over bleach your knots. You're going to leave them too long. Something going to happen, you know. But there's ways around it. I'm going to just continue to comb it through. Get it all mixed in there. And it looks great to me so far. That big old gap. Sometimes I like to wipe the excess off to only leave a little bit on there so it's not too thick when I'm applying it. But I just add it on there. I mean, I suppose you could use black hair color, but to me, I've had bad experience with hair color. It done faded. It's done so many things that have left me devastated. So I'm gonna just stick to the mascara. It works for me. Do what works for you though. This works for me. It's a no judgment zone. You do what works for you. But I'm just gonna go through, and anywhere I see it's a little too light, I'm gonna just go ahead and darken it up to give it a more natural appearance. And when that's done, I'm gonna just go on and move to the plucking of the hairline. And see how natural that looked? Like, you couldn't even tell it was makeup. It's so natural and it lasts a long time. But for plucking the knots, I'm gonna just take that first row hairline out, the very, very thin wispies out. And it's already pre-plucked, but I'm gonna go in and pluck some more. And I'm gonna just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on and so on and so on. And I count so that I'm never plucking in the same place. I know that if I count, that's where I pluck. That's how many times I pluck. But if I'm like stuck on a number for too long and I haven't said another number, I'm like, okay, I've been stuck here for too long. I'm gonna make a hole. That's kind of the technique that I use, if that makes sense. Hopefully y'all get it. And that's the hair I tweezed out. And then I'm gonna go back behind that layer, push that forward, and I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go one time down and then a time up on the same layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. See how back there I was kind of stuck for a minute though? On that 19, I was a little stuck. And I almost made a hole right there. That's why I like to count it out. But again, this is our third time. We just gonna pluck and we just gonna tweeze. Go down and go right back up. And that's it. And we don't want to tweeze in the same place twice because we don't want to create holes and gaps. Have our hairline looking real thin. And sometimes too, if it's still a little thick behind that row that you plucked, you can pluck that out, because I probably just took out too much that time. That's why it looked so thick to me. So compare from the top compared to the back, the top looks flatter. I'm gonna keep going one row down, and I'm gonna come right back up. Pluck anywhere that I missed. I hope that was easy for you guys to understand, because it sounds complicated, but it's really simple. And I'm gonna brush it all back, and I'm gonna brush it all out with this one because it still look too thick. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pluck on that hairline. When I pluck that hair away from the hairline, then it's gonna look like real scalp vibes. It's gonna give the illusion. You see that? Already that's starting to look like somebody with a relaxer, baby. That's looking, whew, bomb. Edge control me, please, baby. Edge me up, please. That's real hair. That's real scalp. That's the wispies that I'm going to have pulled out, and I'm still going to have scalp. I'm still going to have realness. Like, period. Look how much better. That's thick as hell, and that's thin. It's laying flat. You feel me? That on the side is going to get cut. So it don't matter. That side pulled up. That side pulled up compared to the other side pulled up. Baby. What? No comparison. It's flat. The other side is not. It's fine. You can go in and twist a little bit more if need be, if you feel like you need to. I was probably just being extra at this point, because that was a lot of damn hair for that one spot. But pluck to your desire, but be sure not to pluck too much, because you don't want her to look bald. I think I was trying to take that line in the back, that line of demarcation in the back out. But here is it all plucked. It literally took me about like maybe 30 minutes to do this whole thing. And that's what she gonna look like up in the bun. So this space is gonna be for the frontal. This space, that's why I have it left out. So just as if we were gonna do a 4x4, and we would only leave this out, you know, I'm gonna do the same exact method. So I'm gonna leave all of this space out because that's where the frontal is gonna go. So you see how I brought all the tracks leading up to that frontal, they just stop right there. That frontal is gonna be right there. And I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, where I bring the tracks up to that line and they stop there. And then on the back, I'm gonna keep going across until they get to that line right there, and then they're all gonna fall across, they're gonna fall over it. So stay tuned for that. Now back to the canvas head, and we're gonna lay that frontal where it's supposed to go. I'm just trying to lay it flat up against that base right there. So when I sew it down, it is secure. I had the worst problems. These T-pins really get the best of me. Trying to tell you, blooper video coming soon. And see how I know exactly where to etch that out at. I know exactly where I'm going to cut. Because we have that track there for one. And we have that line right there. And that's how much hair I'm going to need left out. That's where I would have to cut. How we always cut our closures, that's where I'm going to have to cut it at. But it ain't sewn all the way down over my ear, and then I'm cutting it out, then it's a little gap behind my ear. I don't have to do all that. It's perfect. And it's giving real scalp. For real. It's perfect. It just lay right there. It's perfect. The ear tabs are it's already gone. Like, I'm so impressed. So yeah, after that's done, I did end up adding an elastic band, and I added my comb to the back off film. Right now I'm just going to define those curls, and I just use this curly custard, leaving the tangler. That's for kids, but it works really good. And this is the final product. She bomb, she popping. I'm gonna hit her with the Fantasia spritz because it's my favorite, and I'm gonna just hot comb that back, although it needs it not, because it's already given what it said it was supposed to give. It's the hairline for me. This is a transparent lace, by the way. And it has not been tinted yet. That's just the real life scalp is giving. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want more of. Let me know how you feel about it. This is my Italian curly hair from the Lush Hair Boutique.online collection. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.